power of the Senate. And if we are invited to contribute to the debate, we will be willing to offer our opinion. While we cannot fault the power of the Senate on that, yet, for a member of the upper chamber to have made such an unfounded and unwarranted categorical statement against the agency led us to look inward to see what could have been responsible for such a carpeting general statement. What we found out was shocking, and we concluded that the statement came from a place of vendetta and certainly not out of public interest or any altruistic motive. Now, I'll give you how we came to that conclusion. The personal house of Senator Ashiru in GRA Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State, had been raided in recent past by the agency, where drugs and illicit substances were recovered, while two of his aides, Ibrahim Mohammed and Mohammed Yahaya, were arrested. Based on credible intelligence and surveillance which confirmed that the senator's house was being used as a drug joint for drug dealers and users, the house was raided by our operatives at 1:30 p.m. on February 4, 2024, during which the two aides were arrested, while a third suspect escaped arrest. In another encounter with the senator, the agency also received intelligence that some of his boys, popularly known as Omo Senator, operating from his hometown, Ofa, were equally dealing in illicit drugs. A raid was subsequently carried out on their joint in Ofa, where one of them, Oluwatosin Odedpida, was arrested, and illicit drugs such as methamphetamine and cannabis recovered from him. That was on June 11, 2023. The bill to get the agency to drop the case against Odedpida, including a visit to the Kwara State Command headquarters of the agency in Ilorin by the personal assistant to the senator, One Omoluabi, was revoked as Odedpida was promptly charged to court and prosecuted. Though the culprit job bail in 2023, he was rearrested in 2024 after the court issued a bench warrant for his arrest. He was eventually convicted and sentenced in June 2024, that is this year. And now this brings the link to the two officers that I have beside me. On the one hand, the officer on my right was the OC in charge of the team that raided the senator's house in Ilorin GRA when his two aides were arrested. That's in February this year. On my left, we was our officers who actually led the operation to the senator's house. Don't forget, this is the head of the team. This is the officer that actually led the team that raided the senator's house. And I also told you that one of his boys who jumped bail when he was being prosecuted was rearrested in June this year in Ofa. This is the current area commander in Ofa Area Command, and so he initiated that arrest after the court issued a bench warrant for his arrest after the jump bail. So, going by this backstory, it is deductible that these encounters that the agency has had with the senators must have been responsible for his outburst. And unfortunately, false allegation, the type that nobody within and outside of government has ever leveled against NDLEA before. This same agency that he wrongfully got into the headline as the most corrupt government agency in Nigeria is the same agency that has been receiving accolades from local and international bodies. Incidentally, the next day, that is the day after the senator made that disparaging statement, that's on Wednesday, October 16th, that's the next day, NDLEA in Lagos commissioned a new Marine Command headquarters building built and donated by the government of the United Kingdom. A similar facility at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, was also last year donated by the same British government. We have had other facilities donated by the United States Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, that is INL, and executed by UNODC, that's United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, in the past 12 months. We have been receiving various support from the governments of France, Germany, and the US, among others. Suffice it to say that in the past 3 years, the NDLEA has emerged as a regional leader among national drug law enforcement agencies. So come to think about it, an agency so bad-mouthed by Senator Ashiru couldn't have been attracting such international goodwill and commendation for being the most corrupt government agency in Nigeria. Against the background of our encounter with people linked to Senator Ashiru, we are supposed to believe that Senator Ashiru's invectives against NDLEA were brought out of pure vendetta and not any opinion made in the public interest. As an agency, we have been professional in our activities and interactions with citizens as we carry out arrests daily. In the past 3 years, we've made over 52,000 arrests and got more than 9,000 convictions, including 3 life sentences this year alone. And as part of our mandate, we have engaged in over 7,000 awareness and sensitization activities in schools, worship centers, workplaces, and communities. Treatment and rehabilitation of more than 33,000 drug users, including the last 2 persons arrested in the senator's personal house in Ilorin, supported by government, organizations, and other stakeholders in the country and around the world. Outside the country, the NDLEA has become a reference for drug law enforcement. Therefore, the statement by Senator Ashiru made in the country's hallowed chamber in the course of a legislative debate and made to justify the creation of another agency is motivated by malice. It is a gross misrepresentation of fact, and it is defamatory to the image of NDLEA. We believe the well-meaning public, our stakeholders, and our partners can see through such a calculated mendacity. In the past 3 years, NDLEA has regularly engaged the House Committee on Narcotic Drugs and the Senate Committee on Drugs and Narcotics. We've been summoned to their meetings and we have made presentations to them several times too. At no time was any grave allegation of corruption levied against us. So if Senator Ashiru has a personal grudge against NDLEA, it shouldn't be cloaked as a matter of public concern. His statement on October 15, 2024, uttered in the hallowed chamber of the Nigerian Senate, is a gross abuse of his position as a legislator of the Federal Republic to undermine an agency of government by a wrong accusation calculated to erode public confidence in NDLEA and detract from its integrity. And we dare say that such will not deter us from our ongoing effort to dismantle all illicit drug networks across the country, including the one operating from the senator's personal residence. NDLEA since January 2021 has been on a journey of reforms, and so far, we are glad with the progress we are making. We are grateful to the federal and state governments for the support we have been enjoying. We are equally grateful to the National Assembly for the huge support they give that has made possible the turnaround of NDLEA from a dormant agency to a vibrant government organ. We equally acknowledge the unprecedented collaboration with our partners, which has made our work easier. We have concrete results to show for our efforts, and those results cannot be whipped away by anyone's careless remarks. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your attention. Arrests were made, drugs were recovered. I believe that that's an established fact, and you can draw your conclusions from that. Then the other question about clearing our name. We have waited for a whole week thinking that, like we said in our statement, thinking that the senator will clarify his position. But because he failed to do that, that's why we have come out publicly to let the public know what must have been responsible for that kind of disparaging statement, against an agency that is beloved of both local and international stakeholders. In June this year, so there was no issue of cover-up or anything. If there was any cover-up, we wouldn't have detained, we wouldn't have prosecuted, we wouldn't have charged him to court. So there was no issue. You don't forget that I said earlier that we had more than 52,000 arrests. I'm sure what you report weekly, there are less than maybe 10 arrests. If we have to be publishing all the arrests we make in a week, I'm not sure you have the space to do that. So we just select, it's not a big thing you publish. It's but at that point, you may not even know who is who unless you have the case file that provides the details. So what you just pick, they are just some catching points of the details of the operation, not the nitty-gritty like that. So that's it's not definitely it's something of cover-up or whatever. We wouldn't have prosecuted them, we would have tried them to court. Yes, please.
Updates.